Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Attorney Sai. This is Lumina Eyak, and I will be reporting to you the sole proprietorship and the partnership under Philippine law. How to set up these two businesses, the advantages and disadvantages, and the registration requirements of these two business ownership.
Setting up business under Philippine law. Before anything else, does any one of you plan to have your own business someday? Let me show you the two types of ownership, the sole proprietorship and the partnership. Let us have first the definition and the nature of the sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. A business owned by one person who is entitled to all of its profits and responsible for all its debts. These firms are owned by one person, usually the individual who has day-to-day responsibility for running the business. Sole proprietors own all the assets of the business and the profits generated by it. They also assume complete responsibility for any of its liabilities or debts. Currently used by more than 75% of all businesses, it is often the suggested way for a new business that does not carry great personal liability threats. So, sole proprietorship has advantages and disadvantages. Let's have first the advantages. First is you're the boss. It means that you, as the owner, manages and controls all the business activities. Second, it's easy to get started. Owners can establish instantly, easily, and inexpensively. Third, you keep all profits. Whatever income generated from the sole proprietorship business, it belongs to the sole proprietor only. Fourth, income from business is taxed as personal income. Fifth, you can discontinue your business at any time. Now, let's go to the disadvantages. First, you assume unlimited liability. In the event of the loss, the personal assets of the proprietor along with the business assets can be utilized to discharge the dues of business. Second, the amount of investment capital you can raise is limited. Third, you need to be a generalist. Retaining high-caliber employees is difficult. Fourth, the life of the business is dependent on the owners. Sole proprietorships rarely survive the death or incapacity of their owners and so do not retain value. Now, let us tackle the definition of partnership. Partnership. A business owned by two or more people who agree to share in its profits is considered a partnership. Under the Philippine law, a partnership has its own legal personality separate and distinct from that of its partners. A partnership may be either be a general partnership and the limited partnership. The general partnership is where the partners have unlimited liability for the debts and obligations of the partnership, while the limited partnerships where one or more are general partners have unlimited liability and the limited partners have liability only up to the amount of their capital contribution. So now, let's tackle the advantages and disadvantages of partnership. First, the advantages. Two heads are better than one. Second, it's easy to get started. Third, more investment capital is available. Fourth, partners may pay only personal income tax. Now, let me present to you the disadvantages. First, partners have unlimited liability. It means if in case business assets are not adequate to repay liabilities, personal assets of all or any partner can be claimed by the creditors to realize the outstanding amount. Second, partners must share all profits. The main purpose of the partnership is to share in profit in the agreed ratio. However, in the absence of any agreement between partners, the business profits or losses are divided equally among all the partners. Third disadvantages is that the partner may disagree. The last one is the life of the business is limited. It means that if there is a lack of continuity in the partnership like death, bankruptcy, retirement, or insanity of any partner, it can lead that the partnership means to end. Although if the remaining partners want to continue operation, they can do so by fresh agreement. Now, let's go to the requirements in setting up a business organization. These are the following registration requirements for the establishment of a sole proprietorship. First is the registration with the DTI, or the Department of Trade and Industry. This registration requires submission of accomplished DTI business name and application form. Next, you need to register with the local government unit. It means you need to acquire a mayor's permit. Third is your registration with the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or the BIR, to get your certificate of registration. And lastly, if there are employees, registration with the SSS or Social Security System, PhilHealth Insurance Company, and Home Development Mutual Fund or Pag-ibig shall also be required. Let's go to the registration requirements for the establishment of a partnership. First is the registration with the SEC or Securities and Exchange Commission. Documentary requirements for the registration of a partnership with SEC are the follows. First is the name verification slip, articles of partnership, written joint undertaking to change partnership name if needed, fourth, clearance and endorsement from other government agencies if applicable. Next, to continue, registration with the LGU, the same with the sole proprietorship, you need to get your mayor's permit. Third, registration with the BIR. And lastly, if there are employees, registration with SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig shall also be required. Once you plan to establish business under Philippine law, you will be liable to pay your proper taxes, which will be our next discussion. Business taxes, national and local tax. Sales in the Philippines may either be subject to value-added tax or VAT or percentage tax. Generally, all sales in the Philippines are subject to 12% VAT. However, if taxpayers whose gross annual sales or receipts from sales or lease of goods or properties or the performance of service do not exceed 3 million, such taxpayer is subject to percentage tax of 3% of his gross sales or receipts. Further, certain transactions are subject to 0% or exempt from VAT based on conditions set forth under the tax code as amended. Excise tax. In addition, excise tax is imposed on, first, imported articles, second, certain services performed in the Philippines, third, certain goods manufactured or produced in the Philippines for domestic sales or consumption. So these are the services and goods are enumerated as follows. First is alcohol products including distilled spirits, wines, and fermented liquor, tobacco products including cigars and cigarettes, petroleum products, sweetened beverages, automobiles except purely electric vehicles and pickups, non-essential goods including jewelry and precious stones, invasive cosmetic procedures and surgeries, and lastly, mineral. So, local tax. LGUs are likewise granted authority to levy taxes as its own source of revenue, subject to certain limitation. The local taxes are distinct and separate from the national taxes collected by the BIR. While there are different kinds of local taxes, most businesses are required to pay taxes, business tax, and real property tax. Local business tax under the Local Government Code or LGC Municipalities and cities may impose business tax on persons engaged in trade or commercial activity regularly as a means of livelihood or with a view to profit. The type of business subject to local tax and the rate thereof shall depend upon the local tax ordinance enacted by the concerned local sanggunian. The local business tax, which generally accrues on the first day of January of the year, shall be computed as a certain percentage of gross sales or receipts. Now, let us proceed on the law on partnership. The law on partnership is found on Republic Act number 386, also known as the Civil Code of the Philippines, on Title 9, Partnership. General Provision. Article 1767. By the contract of partnership, two or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund, with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. Two or more persons may also form a partnership for the exercise of profession. Obligations of the partners. Article 1784. A partnership begins from the moment of the execution of the contract, unless it is otherwise stipulated. Article 1785. When a partnership form a fixed term or particular undertaking is continued after the termination of such term or particular undertaking without any express agreement, the rights and duties of the partners remain the same as they were at such termination, so far as it's consistent with a partnership at will. Article 1786. Every partner is a debtor of the partnership for whatever he may have promised to contribute thereto. Next is the property rights of a partner. Article 1810. The property rights of a partner are his rights in specific partnership property, his interest in the partnership, and third is his right to participate in the management. Obligations of the partners with regard to third persons. Article 1815. Every partnership shall operate under a firm name, which may or may not include the name of one or more of the partners. Those who is not being member of the partnership include their names in the firm shall be subject to liability of a partner. Article 1816. All partners, includes industrial ones, shall be liable pro rata with all their property and after all the partnership's assets have been exhausted, for the contracts which may be entered into in the name and for the account of the partnership, under its signature and the person authorized to act for the partnership. However, any partner may enter into a separate obligation to perform a partnership contract. Limited partnership. So in Article 1843, a limited partnership is one formed by two or more persons under the provisions of the following article, having as member one or more general partners and one or more limited partners. The limited partners or such shall not be bound by the obligation of the partnership. Article 1845. The contribution of a limited partner may be cash or property, but not services. So this will be the end of my report. Thank you everyone. God bless.